Did you know there are some health benefits associated with the activity of sewing? Reducing stress and feeling relaxed while you're doing it. Things like feeling focused, increasing stamina, and not only that, but it will give you a sense of accomplishment. So anyway, I am really glad that you joined today because by the end of this video, you will know how to operate a sewing machine. Hello my lovelies and welcome to another episode here on my Karmatika Designs YouTube channel. I give you a warm welcome if this is your first time. My name is Karina and I am the owner and creator of Karmatika Designs Boutique and YouTube channel. And I'm guessing you clicked on this video because you are trying to learn how to sew. But before we move on, in last week's video we talked all about the ugly side of fashion, which is why I thought it would be appropriate for me to make a video this week on teaching you guys how to get started sewing. If you have been following me since the very beginning, you would notice that I had uploaded a video on how to thread a machine. And if you are an absolute total beginner, I would strongly encourage that you go back to that video and check it out, because in this video we're not going to be going through how to thread a machine. We are simply just going to dive in, because we'll start with talking about the tools that you will need to get started sewing, as well as how to operate the machine and all that good stuff. Alright guys, here we are sitting at the sewing machine. We will be working with our home sewing machine for today. But before we get started, I would like to talk about the tools that you will need for this activity in particular. So the very first thing that we're going to need for this particular project, because we are just starting to learn how to sew and how to get good control of the machine, it would be this downloadable, printable sheet that I just made for you. You can find this on the link down in the description. So don't forget to print this out. If you like to make your own, well, by all means, go ahead and make your own, but I have made this for you and it's all ready to go. So this will be the first thing, because we are first going to practice on paper, believe it or not, on paper and no thread. Besides that, you will need your sewing machine, you will need a spool of thread, and a wind-up bobbin. Actually, as I'm talking to you, I'm just taking out the thread from the top, because as I said, we are going to start practicing on the paper without thread, and this will be very simple too. Usually for sewing you will also need your pins, but right now you will not need that. And additionally, you will need a 12x7 piece of muslin. Basically, we are going to draw some lines, but I mean, we're not there yet. I'll tell you how to draw the lines so we can start getting stitching with thread on the piece of fabric. You will probably need some scissors, or if you have these, I love these. They're just so cute and very easy to cut the thread. Yeah, that's all you will need for this particular lesson. So moving on, I will show you exactly what I will do with this piece of paper and the sewing machine with no thread. You want to find this little lever here. This will put the presser foot up or down, depending if you lift it up or down. The next thing is that you want to position your sheet right where the needle is. Okay, you want to lower your presser foot once you have it ready to go, and all you're going to do, remember, we're not using thread. There is no thread going on in here right now. So you just want to go ahead and start stitching. Remember that this model of sewing machine is very similar to a lot of other sewing machines, but this one in particular has the speed setting where you can go really slow. Even if you press down your pedal all the way down, it will go really slow, versus if you move it up just in the middle, when you press it all the way, when you press the pedal all the way down, this is as fast as it will go. The goal with this is to stay on the line to get to practicing. When you are done, lift the presser foot, bring your sheet, and you will see your nice stitch line. I remember this was one of the very first exercises that we did when I was in fashion school, just to get acquainted with the machine, especially those industrial machines. They run really quick, but this is a home sewing machine. It is not too bad. Alright, and you're gonna just keep going with all of these patterns. You don't need to see me do everything, but I will explain one thing. When you get to this pattern and this pattern, you will try something new, which is called pivoting. Basically, all pivoting is, we go back and lift the needle here, lower your presser foot, remember? And you're going to start like this. When you get to that little corner, you lift your presser foot, turn the paper around. This is called, again, pivoting. And sew along the line. Again, lift the presser foot, move the paper, and just keep sewing, and you're gonna go do that exact same thing for the rest of the exercise. You don't need to watch me do all these lines. I just wanted to show you what this was about before I got you confused about sewing without a thread on a piece of paper. So there it is. All right, moving on. All right, guys, so the very next thing would be to work with our piece of fabric. Okay, remember we are working with a 12x7 piece of cotton muslin. Okay, and what we want to do is draw about 5 lines. Basically, what you want to do is, let's see, we have 5 inches. Okay, so we want to make a mark at 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and I just want you to draw some lines. Okay, try to keep this as straight as possible. If you use one of these rulers, they're called a graph ruler, you can easily guide yourself by these little lines, you know, to see if it's straight or not. So just draw your line. Remember, we want 5 lines because we are going to practice some stitch lengths. Okay? Alright, and there we have it. Alright, and so we are back at the sewing machine. We have our lines ready to go, and what I'm gonna do real quick is just go ahead and thread the machine, and I'll meet you guys in a little bit. I already have my machine threaded and ready to go, basically. So what we're going to do is just put our presser foot down. And to do a little explanation on the stitches that we are going to be doing, if you notice up here it says check, and right here it says 1, this, which will increase the stitch number. Now you have a 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5, and that's about as high as it goes. That's basically where we drew 5 lines. So we're gonna go all the way back to 1. Oh, well, we have a 0 too, but a 0, it would be a really tight stitch. We are not going to be working with it right now. Alright, so right now I have my stitch type is aligned to the left, I want to actually align it to the center. Only because if you see this little line right here, I don't know if you can see that in the presser foot, there's a tiny little line in there. It means that it will be center. So all I do to do that is move 1. Now you got your 0, 1. It will be nice and centered. Here we go. It's number 1. It moves somehow to a 2.5, but we are going to get going with a number 1. This will be number 1. This line will be number 2. This line will be number 3, 4, and 5. All right, ready? So here we go. When you are done, lift the presser foot, lift the needle, and just pull it back. If you bring it actually to the side, it has this little thing that it cuts the thread. All right, and there we go. And same thing for number 2. Again, you're gonna leave this one alone. You're only gonna move this one into a number 2, as such. Okay, next thing, again, bring your presser foot down. Sorry guys, my machine got unthreaded somehow, but I have it nice and ready to go. And this time, just to go a little faster, I'm going to switch my speed setting onto the fastest one. All right, and so we'll just lower the presser foot, put the needle down, put the needle down, and there we go. With one hand. Okay, lift the needle, presser foot, bring it back, cut it. Don't worry if your lines are not the straightest in the beginning. Okay, remember, this is just for practice. If you mess up, well, you can cut another piece of muslin and just start over. Okay, and you're just gonna repeat the same for 3, 4, and 5. I'm just gonna go ahead and work on those rest of lines, and whenever I'm done, I will meet you back. Alright guys, so I am all done sewing these beautiful lines. And one thing I just want to touch on is basically we went from our stitches going from 1 being the tightest stitch. Like I said, it would be for a material something like this where it's very sheer. Either number 1 or number 2 would work for that type of fabric. Number 3 would be like your most standard stitch. This would sew almost most materials, anywhere from a cotton, linen, a polyester, any like medium weight fabric. Number 4 would be for like a medium heavy, so it could be like a denim or a canvas or something like that. You wouldn't need to do a number 3 because that would be way too tight. You could, if you were sewing, let's say like some pants and you want to avoid any ripping when squatting, then yeah, for sure do like a number 3 or 3.5 would be perfect. And then number 5 is ever hardly used unless you're going to do something like a gathering or something just to like a base. It's a basting stitch. Number 5 is a basting stitch. So that's basically all I have for you today. I hope that you have really enjoyed and learned something from this video. I try to keep this one a little bit shorter because I mean there's really not much to it besides you practicing the skills that I'm teaching in this video. If you have found this video of value, I strongly encourage you to like this video, subscribe to the channel. It helps me keep making more videos to teach, learn, inspire, and educate this wonderful community that we have here at Karmatika Designs. So let me know in the comments if I made myself clear, if there's anything else you would like me to touch on. I try to upload once a week, and so next week we're going to actually be learning how to make seams, actual seams. So I'm really excited for that, and I really hope you have enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time and for being part of the Karmatika family. Thank you and love you all.